You ever notice how every election year we're told this one's the big one, the most important election of our lifetime? Yeah, they say that every 4 years, and every 4 years, the world looks about the same afterward, just with new slogans, new scandals, and the same old crap under the rug. It's like changing the air freshener in a room full of garbage. Still stinks. Just now it's lavender, scented corruption. They tell us there's this big difference between the left and the right. The left's going to save the poor. The right's going to save the rich. And somehow both of them end up saving the banks. Isn't that funny? They argue for months about who cares more about working people. Then they both pass bills written by people who haven't worked a real job since high school. It's a beautiful scam, really. They've turned democracy into professional wrestling. Red corner, blue corner, both working for the same promoter. They yell at each other in front of the crowd, but backstage, they're having cocktails and counting ticket sales. You think you're watching a fight, but you're really watching theater. Political theater. Except the tickets are free and the popcorn costs you your future. And the fans, oh, the fans! You've got folks who paint their faces red or blue, screaming like it's the Super Bowl. My side's gonna fix everything. Yeah, sure. Buddy, how's that working out for you? The potholes still look like lunar craters. Your paycheck still disappears before rent's due. And your health insurance costs more than your car. But hey, at least your team won, right? See, the real genius of the system is that it makes people believe they're choosing something. You walk into the voting booth thinking you've got power. It's like picking between two flavors of the same ice cream, vanilla or French vanilla. One's got a fancier name, but they both melt the same way and leave you sticky. You want chocolate. Too bad, not on the menu. You want something healthy. Forget it. You're here to choose between pre-approved nonsense flavors, carefully crafted by the same corporate chefs. And both sides love to talk about freedom. We're defending your freedom. Yeah. Freedom to do what? Argue on the internet about flags and pronouns while your boss schedules you for a double shift. What a deal! Both sides sell you this idea that they're your only hope. Vote for us or the country's doomed. I hate to break it to M, but the country's been doomed since cable news learned how to make fear profitable. They say they're different, but have you ever looked at what actually happens when they're in charge? The wars don't stop. The debt keeps climbing. The rich keep getting richer, and the middle class keeps playing musical chairs. Except someone stole half the chairs back in 1998. The only real bipartisan cooperation you'll ever see is when it's time to give themselves a raise or bail out another bank. Suddenly, the gridlock disappears like magic. They can't fix health care. but they can sure fix a stock portfolio overnight. You ever wonder why these people get along so well behind closed doors? Because they're not fighting for you. They're fighting for the same donors, the same corporations, the same lobbyists. They're like rival brands owned by the same parent company. Coke and Pepsi. Pretend rivals, same factory. Democrats and Republicans. Pretend enemies, same sponsors. And every now and then, they'll throw a new label on the just to keep you interested. Now with extra outrage. Now gluten-free corruption. But it's the same syrup inside. And they're good at distraction too. Oh, they'll keep you busy. They'll make you argue about bathrooms, book bans, and ballooning culture wars. Anything that keeps you from asking where your tax money really went. They'll have you so worked up about your neighbor's bumper sticker that you forget about your neighbor's empty fridge. That's not politics. That's misdirection. The old magician's trick. While you're staring at the waving hand, the other one's picking your pocket and the media. Don't even start. They're the hype men of the whole operation. Every channel has its own flavor of fear. One channel says the country's going to hell because of liberals. The other says it's going to hell because of conservatives. And both are right, but for the wrong reasons. The real reason is that we keep letting the same people drive the bus off the same cliff. And then we argue about which color the bus should be painted on the way down. It's all theater. A show designed to make you feel involved without actually letting you change anything. They want you emotionally invested, but politically paralyzed. Get angry. Get loud. Buy the T-shirt. But don't, whatever you do, start asking real questions about money, power, and who's writing the laws. Because if you do, the curtain might fall, and you'd see the same group of suits back there laughing, shaking hands, and making sure the game stays rigged. You know, it's funny. Both sides say they're for the people, but neither side ever seems to hang out with actual people. You don't see them at the grocery store arguing with the self-checkout machine. You don't see them trying to fix a car held together by duct tape and hope. No, they're too busy having fundraisers in rooms where a cup of coffee costs more than your utility bill. Then they go on TV and say, I feel your pain. Yeah, maybe after the second martini, they do. And we keep falling for it because we want to believe. We want to believe someone out there's fighting for us. That's the real illusion. Hope sold wholesale, shrink wrapped in slogans. Change you can believe in. Make America great again. You notice they never actually define what that means. It's brilliant marketing. Just vague enough that everyone can project their own fantasy onto it. You think it means better schools. The guy next to you thinks it means fewer taxes. The guy writing the checks thinks it means another yacht. So, yeah, the left wing, the right wing, they flap in opposite directions, but they're attached to the same bird. And that bird, it doesn't fly for you. It's flying toward the same golden nest it's always had, the one filled with lobby money, corporate power, and well-fed insiders. The rest of us, we're just down here, dodging the droppings and pretending it's rain. But here's the kicker. None of this works without us. They need us divided, distracted, and desperate. Because the moment we stop screaming at each other and start laughing at them, the magic trick's over. The illusion fades. And that's the one thing they can't afford. For us to stop believing in their fake little tug of war and realize the rope's not even connected to anything. So, yeah, left wing, right wing, still the same BS. Just depends on which end of the bird you're standing under. Would you like me to continue with the next section? The performance of politics. In the same comedic style next, you ever notice how politics these days feels less like government and more like bad entertainment? I mean, you turn on the TV, and it's not a news conference anymore. It's a talent show. They've got theme music, camera angles, and more makeup than a Broadway cast. It's all performance. Nobody's running a country. They're running a brand. The politicians don't solve problems. They audition for airtime. And oh, they love the drama. Every press conference looks like an episode of some cheap soap opera. Today, the senator said something shocking. Yeah, shocking how little they know. You got one guy pretending to be angry, another pretending to care, and the rest pretending to listen. It's the longest running show on earth. Government theater, featuring an all-star cast of overpaid actors and underinformed extras. You see, politics figured out something Hollywood always knew. Outrage sells. Nothing gets ratings like anger. You're not supposed to understand what's going on. You're supposed to feel something. Anger, fear, pride, doesn't matter. Just don't sit still long enough to think. The news doesn't report stories anymore. They produce them. Coming up next, how your neighbor's recycling habits are destroying democracy. Don't touch that dial. You flip through the channels. Every one of them's got the same story, just with a different villain. One side says the country's collapsing because of those people. The other says it's collapsing because of these people. And in the middle, the anchors smile like game show hosts reading cue cards written by lobbyists. The graphics flash, the music swells, and the ticker runs across the screen faster than your paycheck disappears. It's not journalism. It's a circus. And these politicians, they love that circus. They thrive on it. They wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and practice their serious concern. Face. They don't talk. They perform. Every sentence is rehearsed. Every gesture is calculated. I care deeply about the hardworking people of this great nation. Yeah. Then how come you haven't seen one without a camera in the room since the Clinton administration? The performance doesn't stop on TV either. You ever notice how every politician suddenly becomes a regular person right before an election? They roll up their sleeves, eat a hot dog, maybe even hold a baby. That's the campaign season costume. One week they're wearing designer suits. The next week they're wearing denim shirts and pretending they know how to work a grill. Look, folks, I'm just like you. Sure you are. If I had a private jet and a tax shelter in the Cayman Islands, and they love their slogans, don't they? Short, punchy, empty. Hope, change, family values, a strong America. It's like a commercial for detergent. New formula, same old stains. They spend millions on consultants to come up with these little catchphrases because they know people don't remember policies. They remember jingles. You hum them all the way to the voting booth. The media eats it up too. They treat politicians like celebrities. We'll war it better. The senator or the governor. Breaking news. Candidate seen buying coffee. They follow them around like paparazzi at a fashion show. But when it comes time to ask real questions, they all suddenly forget how to speak English. Senator, what's your position on this complex issue? Well, I think we need to look at both sides. Fantastic answer. Back to you, Jim. And let's talk about debates, the ultimate political theater. Two people standing behind podiums, pretending to be adversaries, but both reading from the same script. They don't debate. They deliver monologues. Each one waits patiently for the other to stop talking so they can say something rehearsed and meaningless. It's like watching two robots argue about feelings. They don't even answer the questions anymore. Senator, what's your plan for health care? Well, let me first thank my opponent for his service and also mention my grandfather who was a doctor. Yeah, and I had an uncle who was a plumber. What's your point? They're not talking to the moderator. They're not talking to each other. They're talking to the cameras. Every line is aimed right at you. Sitting at home thinking, wow, this one sounds honest. That's the act, baby. They spend weeks rehearsing how to sound honest. There are consultants who specialize in the empathy gaze. They teach you how to tilt your head and squint just right when pretending to care. Mim, yes, the people are suffering. Then they go backstage and check the stock market. And it's not just the politicians performing. It's the audience too. The voters have become part of the show. They wear the T-shirts, wave the flags, chant the slogans. They turn rallies into concerts. We love you. You're our hero. Hero. The guy's been in office 30 years and hasn't fixed a pothole. You don't need a hero. You need a functioning postal service. But no, The crowd goes wild, the cameras flash, and everyone feels like part of something meaningful until the next scandal breaks and the show moves on. And let's not forget the lobbyists. Oh, they're the real directors behind the scenes. They write the script, hire the actors, and decide which stories get airtime. You never see their names on the credits, but trust me, they're the ones running the studio. They know the audience will keep watching as long as the plot keeps them emotional and confused. You ever wonder why every solution they pass somehow benefits the people who paid for the commercials? That's not coincidence. That's good writing. The funniest part, everyone complains about it, but everyone keeps tuning in. The ratings are great. They say they hate politicians, but they know every one of them by name. They follow them like celebrities. Did you hear what the senator tweeted? No, and I'm happier for it. You don't need to check a politician's Twitter feed. You need to check your bank account. That'll tell you everything you need to know about how they're doing. And when the show starts to drag, when people start losing interest, they always pull out the same trick, the scandal episode. Nothing spices up a dull term like a good old-fashioned scandal. Affairs, emails, missing funds, you name it. Suddenly, everyone's glued to their screens again. Oh no, how could they do this? Easy. They've been doing it the whole time. The only difference now is somebody leaked the script. You know what the real tragedy is? It used to be politicians had to pretend to be leaders. Now, they only have to pretend to be human. They smile, wave, say, "God bless America," and then disappear into a fundraiser. You never see them again until it's time for another performance. They don't represent people. They represent camera angles, demographics, and talking points. The government's become a talent agency with a flag. So yeah, politics is a performance. The politicians are actors. The media is the director. And the citizens, well, we're the laugh track. They cue us when to cheer, when to boo, and when to go home feeling like something meaningful happened. But when the credits roll, nothing's changed. The same cast, the same script, the same sponsors. And the only thing that ever really changes is the price of the ticket. You know what the real problem is? It's not the politicians. It's not the parties. It's not even the lobbyists or the bankers or the billionaires hiding behind trust funds and fake smiles. No, the real problem is us. Yeah, us. The big, beautiful, gullible public. We've got the attention span of a goldfish with a sugar addiction and the memory of a broken etche sketch. We keep falling for the same trick over and over again. Every 4 years, someone new comes along and says, "I'm different. I'm not like those other guys." And we go, "Oh boy, finally, a good one." Then 2 years later, we're right back where we started, broke, tired, You and arguing about whose fault it is this time. It's like being in a bad relationship with democracy. You keep thinking it'll change. No. Baby, this time it's different. He promised transparency. Yeah, and he delivered it. You can see right through him. The truth is, we don't really want change. We want comfort. We don't want to fix the system. We want to feel good about the system while it screws us. We want a president who says nice things, a government that looks busy, and enough distractions to make us forget how little we actually control. We don't want reality. We want a reality show. And that's why the game keeps working. Because as long as we're yelling at each other, nobody has to fix anything. They got us right where they want us, split, distracted, and arguing about nonsense. We fight over red hats and blue banners, while the folks at the top are too busy counting our tax dollars to care which side we're on. They love it when we argue. You think they're afraid of protests or elections? Please. They're afraid of us agreeing on something. That's the one thing they can't handle. People realizing they've been played by the same deck. And we make it so easy for them. We act like the government's some kind of separate species. They're corrupt. They're greedy. Well, who voted for them? The Martians? No. It was us. We put those people there. We hand them the keys, wave goodbye, and then get mad when they drive the car into a wall. How could they do that? Because we didn't read the manual. We treat democracy like fast food. We want it quick, easy, and cheap. I voted, now fix everything. It doesn't work that way. You can't just show up once every few years, press a button, and expect paradise. You got to stay involved. You got to hold people accountable. But that's hard, and we don't like hard. We like hashtags and slogans. Raise awareness. Yeah, raise awareness while the water bill raises itself. We've become addicted to symbols instead of solutions. We think posting a sticker or a meme is political action. I shared an article. I'm doing my part. Yeah, from your couch between cat videos and a BuzzFeed quiz about what kind of pizza you are. We've confused participation with performance. Just like the politicians, only cheaper lighting. But here's the thing. The fix isn't impossible. It's just not convenient. It means admitting the problem's bigger than your favorite party or your least favorite politician. It means realizing that power doesn't care what color your yard sign is. The fix starts when people stop acting like fans and start acting like citizens. Stop cheering. Start questioning. Stop picking teams. Start picking truth. Because once you take the costumes off, once you strip away all the slogans and the flags and the fake outrage, what's left? Regular people. All with the same problems. The rent's too high, the paycheck's too small, the air's dirty, the schools are broke, and the future looks like a used car with no warranty. But instead of teaming up to fix it, we spend all day online screaming at strangers who are just as lost as we are. That's not politics. That's madness with we-fi. The real fix starts when people realize that being angry isn't enough. You got to be aware. You got to look at where the money goes, who writes the laws, who profits from keeping you distracted. Follow the money. It's like a bad smell. It always leads to the source. Once you start seeing how it works, it's not left or right anymore. It's just up and down. The ones up there and the rest of us down here. And it's funny, isn't it? The folks up there love to talk about unity. Every speech, we must come together. Oh, they want unity, all right. As long as it's under their thumb. They want you united in obedience, not awareness. They love unity rallies, not unity revolutions. Because if people actually united around truth instead of politics, that would be the end of their little show. Curtains, lights out, but we're too busy watching the reruns. Same promises, same speeches, same scandals. We sit there like it's comfort food for the brain. Oh, this again. I know this one. The corruption episode. Yeah, you've seen it 1,000 times, and the ending never changes. Maybe the real fix is simpler than we think. Maybe it's just about calling things what they are. Stop pretending corruption's influence. Stop pretending greed's growth. Stop pretending incompetence is leadership. Once we stop dressing up dysfunction with pretty words, maybe we'll start to deal with it. But that's hard. And America doesn't like hard work unless it comes with a reality TV contract. You know what really scare the establishment? Not riots, not protests, not some flashy new political movement. No, what would terrify them is if everyone just stopped believing the act. If people turned off the noise, ignored the slogans, and said, no, we're not playing this game anymore. If everyone stopped fighting each other and started laughing at the nonsense, the whole illusion would collapse faster than a politician's promise after Election Day. Because that's the one thing they can't control. Awareness. You can't buy it. You can't censor it. And you sure as hell can't fake it. Once people wake up, you can't put them back to sleep. And the truth, the real truth, isn't even complicated. The problem isn't left or right. The problem is power without accountability. And the fix isn't some magic politician riding in on a rainbow of reform. The fix is all of us remembering who actually owns this place. It's not the lobbyists. It's not the corporations. It's not the donors or the dynasties. It's supposed to be us. The people who work, pay, live, and still somehow manage to laugh through all this absurdity. The people who know that freedom doesn't come from slogans. It comes from awareness. So maybe that's the real revolution. Not in the streets, but in the mind. Seeing through the illusion, laughing at the game, refusing to play it anymore. The moment you do that, the moment enough people do that, the wings stop flapping, the bird stops flying, and all that same old BS falls out of the sky. And that, my friends, would finally be something worth standing under.